Before this starts, Abeera, I have to tell you, Musad has a very strong accent. It is a fully Amriki accent, but he's not Amriki, so that might come to you as a shock.
Okay.
It comes as a shock to everybody कि how strong this accent is. तो मैंने सोचा मैं आपको पहले से बता दूं
Yes.
ताकि आप
Do you
ज़्यादा
have an accent? School, college, people?
Saudi. He grew up
Okay.
in Saudi, so वहाँ I guess people have like
Ali, please,
super.
Ali, please ask him why hasn't he gotten the vaccine yet? Okay,
Oh, did he have an option and not get it?
everyone, we can all get it. Everyone,
Oh
literally,
yeah.
everyone can get it.
It's
अच्छा
open, yeah, everyone.
ठीक है.
थोड़ी सी मुझे उसमें ना एंटी वैक्स टेंडेंसी नजर आई हैं तो
हाँ.
मैं इसके जो मैं इसकी हर बात पे ले रहा हूँ मैं बट लेट मी आस्क द क्वेश्चन एक्चुअली लेट मी आस्क इट प्लीज लेट मी आस्क इट
Sure. Sarkhail and Musad are friends, as you can imagine. इसलिए ये बहुत casual चल रहा है. अच्छा, recording तो शुरू हो गई. I'll start. Hi everyone. Hello. This is the Corona World Tour 2021 edition. Special new episode, not a follow-up of the people we talked to before. We didn't do a UAE episode क्योंकि हमने सोचा कि हम सब मतलब Sarkhail from the UAE तो हमें पता है, but now we're doing a UAE episode. Joining us today we have Abeera, a very old childhood friend of mine. She's not old, the friendship is old. Abeera is in Dubai. We have Sarkhail, returning character of the TPR Pod Expanded Universe. He is in Abu Dhabi. And also we'll have Musad joining later, who is in Dubai, and he has an American accent. तो बात ये हो रही थी कि so the introduction I was giving you guys was कि the maqsad of this series is we're catching up with people after pretty much 1 year of lockdowns happening, coronavirus happening, etc. And in different parts of the world, and just asking them how their experiences have been in lockdown, work from home, etc., etc. So that's just a catch up with the situation and how things are right now wherever they are. Oh, Musad is here, and we'll add him, but we can also start talking. And I will not repeat this introduction. So, Abeera, how has your past 1 year been? I mean, we're counting it as 1 year, but it might have been thoda aage piche, the start of it. But in Dubai, how has this past 1 year been for you?
I would say it was scary. It
Yeah.
was really scary. And in the beginning, everybody was freaking out. Nobody knew. It was so surreal. People were like, "Is this really happening? And are we going through this together? Globally?" And it took a while. I still remember I had just picked up my UK visa from the consulate, and I was all ready to go summer 2020, visit UK one more time. And I picked it up, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm hearing things about China and this virus, and it's come to Dubai. Let me just go pick up a sanitizer." And literally 1 week after that, airports closed down.
Wow.
So that sudden closure, and people not able to come in, and people stuck abroad, it was very worrisome in the beginning. Thankfully, we didn't have any shortages as such because Dubai, you have everything available in all different costs and varieties and whatever. So in the beginning, it was a bit scary. I just stopped going to work. My boss is an Emirati, and he also stopped going to work. He was, I think, more scared than me. So we didn't speak of it. We didn't say, okay, we're not going to work. We just stopped going to work. So the first 2 months, I was just at home and, kind of catching up with people all over the world and realizing that they were going through something even worse than we were. But uske baad, by summer, it started kind of, chilling, and the trials have started. Apparently,
Yeah.
UAE was doing kind of trials.
Yeah.
We had no idea it was a Chinese vaccine trial because obviously nobody was even wanting to mention the word China, at
Okay.
least for the first month. But there were these trials happening. People a little bit more, relieved, and things started people started getting a little chilled out. And then I think, as you say, everything just kind of opened up in December, and then it was Zoom. Like we were literally a party mahal at that point. Now, of course, you go around and you go like, what's COVID? Where's COVID? Everybody's just, it's very normal in Dubai.
Okay.
Cases are still high. I mean, we're still at 2K, but life is normal, and Dubai is really working to, make everything seem just, normal. So it's been okay. It's been all right, but I mean, I think we're better off than a lot of countries, thankfully.
Yeah.
The government picked up, things really quickly and took whatever they can. I think we're the only ones besides China doing the Chinese vaccine. So that's a little bit.
Pakistan also
Pakistan is the same.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yeah. But
some South American countries as well.
The UAE was like very early on. I think because they were so eager to get things open, they were like, "Haan, bro, matlab yaar trials kar lo, sab kar lo, khair hai." Our friend Ehsan Sarkhail, apparently he got like his vaccine like summer last year.
He was in the first batch of trial run. of the
Wow.
vaccine.
Wow. So
Yeah.
speaking of the vaccine, did you get it, Abeera? Did you get a chance to get it?
I did. I've got the vaccine and I've had no side effects that it's scary. And I was like, have they put anything? I mean, is it juice? Some kind of
Yeah, 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 yeah. And your family also, everyone's been
yes,
vaccinated. Very good.
everyone's in the process of getting vaccinated.
That is a very interesting thing. Also, as you mentioned that the airport shut down, you were planning a flight because Dubai is such a huge like travel hub, and there were stories of Emirates planes just circling because there's so many planes and there's no space at the airport because they were never designed for all of them to just be there. And yeah, that really is a very unique thing, a very UAE Dubai situation. Well, we'll move on to Sarkhail. Sarkhail,
Musad,
आप सुनाएं.
Musad.
Acha, okay, we'll move on to
Hold up.
Musad.
Did I jump into the call while it was recording?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I apologize. I apologize for being late.
Yeah.
First
yeah,
of
yeah.
all,
That's fine.
just finishing up. Second thing, is that a fucking green gaming chair, Sarkhail? What? What is happening?
Second
What
time it's
is
been
that?
mentioned.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen him in a while. And hi Abeera. My name is Musad. Pleasure to meet you and all
Yeah.
that.
So, Musad, the question.
Yep.
that we were-
Pakistani. Yeah.
Yeah, Pakistani, yeah. So what is the question? What are we talking about?
The question was because he's late, he missed it.
Yes.
This series was the Corona World Tour 2020, where we were talking to people last year in March around the world when lockdowns and coronavirus and everything was sort of newish, still pretty much new. And then we were catching up in the 21 edition. We didn't do a UAE episode, so this episode is sort of a recap of the whole year so much.
Sure.
Not so much as what changed from last we spoke, but what's been happening. So
Sure.
you're also in Dubai.
Shout out.
Okay, shout out. How has your year been?
So 2021's been pretty decent. I've actually really enjoyed this year so far. 2020 was an absolute shitstorm. of a year.
Good for you, man. No one's here to listen to your happy fucking stories.
I was
Okay?
just saying, listen,
And
I've actually got my shit together this year, so I can actually.
people have died, and you're like, it's been a good year. It's been a good year.
No. I said no. Let me make this clear. 2021 has been better than 2020. Let me rephrase.
Okay,
it,
okay.
right? 2020 was pretty bad, right? Okay, when Corona hit
Yeah,
us.
let's start with your situation when it first, like when Abeera was saying, when the lockdowns when it first arrived. Ki ye ho raha hai.
So
What
I work
was
with a lot of
your-
boomers. I used to work with a lot of boomers back in my old company. No names taken, but you can check it out.
Sure.
And when the coronavirus started, it was like, oh, goddamn Chinese people out there eating all this shit. Like, I was like, okay, great. It was just like straight up, right? And it was like
Yeah.
no holds barred, open racism and everything. And I was like, okay, so this is happening. And it felt very far-fetched because that's what China feels like often. It just like, okay, like, what the fuck am I going to do with China, right? I'm never going to go there. And next thing you know, everybody around, because I work closely with the government, everybody around was like, skeptical. There was emails being passed around, and we're like, okay, yeah, it's never gonna happen. Whatever, it's all good. Then we got an email, work from home for a week, and we're like, hell to the yeah. 1 week of work from home. This is gonna be absolutely great. We're just gonna chillax and do what we need to do. 1 week, and I didn't know it was gonna be the last time we ever went to the office. But when we left, we took all our stuff, and after the first couple weeks, things started to go bad. And I'm very, very thankful that nobody from my immediate family has even got the virus. So we haven't, let alone lose your life to it. So very thankful in that regards. But things started to crack because nobody had worked from home before in this archaic government kind of organization. And people were like, you need to have 2 cameras so we can see what you're doing. And your pointer needs to be moving. And like things like these ideas were popping up that were like, okay, I'd much rather be in the office. At some point, people were asking my team to do a log of every hour. And I'm like, we were never this accountable at the office. Why are we accountable when we're at home? So yeah. It was like when you try to overcompensate, when you try to fix something that you cannot fix. I mean, nobody at the company could single-handedly stop the pandemic, but everybody was trying to stop it somehow in terms of the productivity of the company. So that went very south very quickly. And it happened with a lot of other companies. So it happened with ours too, that were previously failing pre-pandemic, used the pandemic to cut down a lot of their manpower. And that came in waves. The first and second wave I didn't experience, but I lost all of my team members. And the third wave I experienced too. So I ended up losing my job in around June, July, I lost my job, and I was like, holy shit! Like, because in Dubai, you lose your job, what are you gonna do? Like,
you're
you
not
have to
living
leave.
there anymore. Yeah.
And just a little bit of context, I've never lived in Pakistan, which is the only country that I have. Like, this is the only passport.
पता है हमें पता है ठीक है
So I'm cozying up to my grandma. I'm like, I'm gonna be home soon. So it's just
ये
like,
पीछे इसने ना मैप भी लगाया हुआ है कराची का कि जाना इधर ही है. Let me study that shit.
Shut up.
Okay.
So I was just like, it was really shocking. And then thankfully, like I held on to my visa and I had some savings to sustain myself off of. So that kept going. But if you remember, Sarkhail, and I'm sure Abeera, you're in Dubai or Abu Dhabi?
She's in Dubai.
Dubai. So you know this, that right before Ramadan and during Ramadan, we had this awful lockdown where we couldn't even go out for groceries, and you had to download this PDF to go out. Like weird, there was this weird process.
Yeah, it was like a super lockdown.
Yeah, and it was
like permit.
Yeah, that permit thing. Yeah, and it was like you had to do it a day before, I think.
Yeah,
so it was super depressing. Super
Yeah.
depressing. The problem is, and I'm speaking to the mental side of the pandemic because, like I said, thankfully we haven't experienced the physical side of it. The problem is when you lose 8 hours of your day, right? When you lose your job and you're stuck at home, so you can't really do anything with your body, like you can't work out or everything. Kind of like it's like this inward black hole, right? The energy just goes inside, and you start thinking, well, I'm clearly useless professionally, so I'm clearly useless physically because I can't really do any sports or can't really work out. Can't really meet any people either, and I'm not gonna have any money soon as well. So, what exactly is the point of life? So it's just it gets very dark very quickly. So I experienced a lot of that. I think all the way up until I just decided one day that I needed to leave the country. But before that, my saving grace throughout the really dense pandemic time was actually shout out change of pace, because I found something to do.
Brand
because
integration कर दिया हमने. हाँ.
it was making
यहाँ
me
से लेके
zero,
आना यहाँ से
exactly. It was making $0 plus tax at that point, and even now. But the point that I was trying, the point was that I had, because we were covering test matches in June, which is a 40-hour week. So I was like, lag gayi job.
अच्छा ऐसे time मिला आपको ये test matches cover करने का.
Exactly. People were asking us, how are you covering test matches at 1 p.m. on a Monday? And I was just like, bus bro, dedication hai, kya problem? It's just like I had nothing else to do. So yeah, change of pace was my saving grace. I mean, it was so positive and everything. So it was good.
Abeera and Musad, how weird was it to be in Dubai, jahan at one point ऐसा था कि there's this traffic all day, जिधर भी जाएं आप, बस traffic तो है. And like I remember a weird thing when I lived there was Dubai Mall is the biggest mall in the world, and Dubai Mall की parking is the biggest covered parking in the world. ना parking मिलती है, ना mall में चलने की जगह. How is this like sustainable? But in the lockdown, I don't know if you guys went out then, but was it like khali?
I don't know about how weird, but what was really amusing were those huge sanitation tanks all over Dubai. Like after 9 p.m.
What's a sanitation tank?
Basically, there was this huge trucks or huge, I don't know.
टैंकर आके स्प्रे कर रहा था.
Yeah, they were spraying the roads. I mean, that was their cure to the virus. That we'll spray the roads and everything will be fine. I found that really amusing, and I was like,
हाँ, क्योंकि ये भी है ना कि at the start like nobody knew करना क्या है क्या नहीं करना.
Clean the roads.
Yeah. I remember seeing the roads being cleaned. हाँ, और वो video आ रही थी कि
and yeah, the best part about the empty roads was Dubai police decided to take the opportunity and they released this fancy ad saying thank you. So they basically did a whole shooting on Sheikh Zayed Road. It was a video that went viral, and yeah, they took advantage of the empty roads. And I don't know if you've seen the video. Like
we'll add it. We'll find it.
Yeah,
and we'll add
it's very dramatic. It's very dramatic and emotional. It's quite well shot, I have to say. It was a good ad. But you know, Ali, you make a good point about people just going. So Dubai does a lot in very little time. I think it's one of the most productive cities in the world when you think of mega projects and things getting done. I'm not talking about like our colleagues. I'm talking about like overall city infrastructure wise.
Yeah.
And so when the Rona happened, they just started like going nuts about it. So you can see a lane road in the E311 from my balcony, and they were desolate. They were empty. You would see just the guy bringing me my manakish back and forth, and the rest of it was these trucks like spraying all over the place. And we found out about 3 months later that bhai, iska koi fayda nahi hai. And they had shut down street by street and just spraying everybody, like, just, you know how like Kevin Hart says, fire on motherfuckers. Like, it was just like throw sanitizer on them. And I don't know, like, and I can't imagine how much money that was spent on that. But I do appreciate one thing, whether it was right or wrong, there was a lot of proactiveness in Dubai. And maybe that proactiveness has slightly gone quieter now. Like Abeera mentioned earlier, people are very normal now, which is slightly frightening because we still have the same amount of cases. But when it started, they were very proactive, both private and public sector.
Closed down its international airport, being the hub for the entire Asia.
That
had a lot of repercussions. I think we went through a shock in summer where people started losing out on jobs, people getting fired. There were nowhere to stay. There were issues, not issues, but there were incidents where people were living on the streets. I mean, I know for a fact that Pakistan consulate had like throngs and throngs of people just waiting outside to leave the country, and even India. It was a very scary atmosphere at that point as well. It was really, everybody was just counting their blessings. It was like, okay, at least we've got a roof over our heads. So there were trying times, and I think that's when Dubai decided, you know what, we can't do this for long. We have to be proactive. We have to come up with something. And they just opened. And people were really upset. They were like, why are you opening? The virus is still there. But people had to make money. I mean, over here, that's the problem. There's no incentives from the government. When you lose your job, there's no furlough. There's nothing of that sort here. So you're either like sitting at home with no money, or you got to leave. And that was killing the entire economy. So although at that time people were annoyed, I think it was a great decision to just open up and work as and when, whatever happens.
Dubai ki situation bhi thodi unique, and in the sense that, like, if people don't know, unless you're a national, which very few people are, when you live in Dubai, you're attached to your job. And if that job goes away, then your visa eventually also runs out. And then you're like, you either find another job or you go back home, which becomes a problem when jobs are running out. Musad, did you get the vaccine?
So I haven't got, yeah, you can't smile, Sarkhail. You can't laugh. So Sarkhail believes I'm an anti-vaxxer, even though I'm not.
You are.
I mean, I can prove it to you, dude. Look at this shit.
That doesn't count.
That's literally a vaccine mark right there.
You didn't consent to that. वो तुम्हें लगाया गया था.
Well, we can talk about that. That's a problem. See,
no, that's on topic.
But in terms, I want to make this very clear to the audience. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Get your vaccine. Get them on time. Get them on time. So there's two things. It's a double whammy for me. I have been weighing getting the corona versus getting a needle in my body. I really don't like needles. I really don't.
Yeah, this is.
So okay. So I am very like, how every 3 years, Ali, when you get your visa renewal, you got to get the blood test. I'm just like, dude, let me pee in a bottle. Like, do whatever. like anything that you need. Take a follicle of my hair if you need to. Yeah. Like whatever you want. Give me just nothing but a needle, please. So there's that, and there's the other thing that I've just started a new gig, and I'm super lazy about doing things outside of work right now, so I just haven't signed up to it. But my brother's just come back, so we're going next week. We're going to get our first dose next week.
Send me a picture. I want a video. Maybe 2 hafte hain, or a video or whatever works. And if he sends it to me, we'll put it in that he got the vaccine.
Anti-vaxxing is not good. Don't be an anti-vaxxer. But can I just say something though? Like this is where Sarkhail and I might disagree a little.
Sure.
So because the corona vaccine is being developed by a lot of large scale pharmaceutical companies, and I've had very close members of my family that have used mainstream pharmaceutical products to recover from deadly diseases. So please, I understand the contribution to society that these companies bring, but they are not the superheroes. Do not make pharmaceutical companies out to be the good guys here. This is one of the worst, most malicious, most malign, most corrupt industries in the world.
Yep.
So yes, they're bringing the vaccine.
Especially Ali's employer.
Oh wait, I didn't. But just to be clear,
no, it's fair.
Yeah, like this is my issue, right? Because people are coming to me, why don't you get the vaccine? I'm like, well, I've been lazy and this and that. oh, you think you're an anti-vaxxer? No, well, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I don't like vaccine. I don't like pharmaceutical companies. I don't trust them.
Sure.
So
but if you bring that up when people say, why haven't you gotten the vaccine? Like, हाँ, ये साला है.
yeah. So that's why, So I left about a 10-second gap. So they're
Okay.
not correlated.
Okay.
Even though
हमने
they're
कट
close.
करके वो 7 कर दिया. अच्छा, Sarkhail, you don't live in Dubai. You live in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi में and also
Oh, these spoiled privileged Dubai brats don't know shit.
Yeah.
Inka lockdown was maybe like 3.5, maybe 4 months. Lockdown, ठीक है?
Yeah.
उसके बाद, there's a hotel in Dubai called 5 Palm Jumeirah.
Man,
that was basically UK embassy for like influencers. आपको वहाँ जाके आपको वीजा मिलता है भाई.
Really?
And it's insane. Like it's just like इनको क्या पता मुश्किलात की हैं, इनको क्या पता लॉकडाउन की हैं, इनको कुछ नहीं पता. I've had my nose violated more than the average person because I have to travel back and forth between Dubai because I have family in Dubai and I have this dude in Dubai.
Explain Karna, how was the Abu Dhabi lockdown different from the Dubai
so
lockdown?
We had shuru mein the first 3 months with the same, after 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. sleep curfew and then let the tankers do their stuff. Sleep. let the tankers do their thing. Let them spray the shit all over the. And then when Dubai started opening up, Abu Dhabi still had Abu Dhabi was still strict. There was no, going to restaurants. There was no public places, no cinemas, nothing. And also to enter Abu Dhabi, you needed a negative PCR test or a negative DPI test, which was I don't know what it stands for, but it'll take a blood sample from your finger into it. And that started, I think, on Eid. Okay? The first time it happened was on Eid. And abhi tak wo chal raha hai. Now also you need PCR test, but now it's just gotten worse. Now, if you live in Abu Dhabi and you have to enter Abu Dhabi.
अच्छा एक बात सुनो, तुम सब लोग UAE में रहते हो तो इस हिसाब से बातें करो कि कल तुम्हारे घर
I should be there.
Just be chill, yeah.
So you have to take a PCR test or DPI on entry, and if you live in Abu Dhabi, then there's a 4th day and 8th day PCR test too. So it's just 3 PCR tests. But you know what? We are super privileged. No, seriously, to be living in a country like this compared to like what we're seeing in the US and UK, who you think would actually
Pakistan. वहाँ क्यों जा रहे हो? Pakistan.
Pakistan तो हम expect करते ना. Would you expect from Pakistan?
We'd be surprised अगर ऐसा ना हो.
I would, yeah. Like if they did something like this, I'd be like, wow, okay. So
sorry,
it's like
you were saying something?
I was saying Pakistan was doing so well in the beginning, and then they just.
Where they though?
This thing, it seemed that it seemed we had things under control like until 6 months ago.
Yeah, we had a lockdown, but that lockdown was also, now this has become about Pakistan. Imran Khan, in his first message about coronavirus, said कि घबराने की कोई बात नहीं है, it's just like a flu, ये वो, and then people were like, अच्छा तो फिर lockdown क्यों हो रहा है? फिर lockdown हो गया, no plan कि lockdown कब खुलेगा, what we're looking to achieve, खुल गया lockdown, and then people are like, okay तो बस ठीक है ना, खत्म हो गया, and everyone just went about their day. And
but I think, like, again, I'm not a medical expert by any stretch of the imagination or a
मेरे घर में बहुत doctor हैं, I'm an expert.
but to be honest, I respect the difficulty of the situation for countries like Pakistan, because you have massive issues in terms of day-to-day living.
Sure.
In terms of other medical problems that people face. So if you have a country that's has a huge population living below the poverty line and you lock it down, then you have serious repercussions.
No, देखो, a lockdown, as per the WHO, Ireland में भी lockdown चले जा रहा है. A lockdown is your last resort. ठीक है ना?
Right.
उससे पहले भी चलें, आपके पास वैक्सीन के पैसे नहीं है, आप सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग नहीं कर सकते, कह तो दो कि this is serious, ख्याल रखो.
Yeah, no, I should.
Like, yeah, when your messaging is like, bro, chill scene hai, and all your life you've been saying कि मैं डरता नहीं हूँ और ये foreign agencies और ये वो, तो कोई क्यों सुनेगा? अच्छा,
I compare our initial movements to the noisy neighbors to India's, and if you remember those images,
Abeera's from India.
That's fine. That's not a problem.
Racism,
I think of,
racism.
hey, they're fairly
and watch
they're
what you say.
they're fairly noisy. But the point I'm trying to make is that they went for a full lockdown, and I felt a lot of that was in compliance to the international community. And then they had these huge populations of migrant labor and even labor that was from India that had to just walk to their villages. We saw this horrifying footage of people having, no food, water, shelter, or a way to sustain themselves in these big, large.
But India का थोड़ा unique scene भी तो है ना, just because of the population being so huge.
Yeah. I mean, we have in terms of per square or whatever, we're pretty dense as well in terms of the population.
I think like Karachi is close, but बाकी सब जो है ना वो फिर नहीं होता. But खैर, sorry, बात हो रही थी.
I will say, we'll go back to the UAE. Last point, I was laughing a lot when people on Twitter were saying lockdown Karachi. I was like, have you ever been there? Like, you have to understand the gravity of the situation and what you're talking about. I mean, if you live in Defense Phase 6 and you've got a hotspot next door and you have a basement where you can do house parties, and cool, lockdown sounds good. But you drive past the bridge, realize like 8 people living in a 1-bedroom apartment, you're not going to be able to lock it down.
Yeah. Now back to Abu Dhabi. So Sarkhail, Musad, also one thing I wanted to ask you guys about was, Sarkhail, you got the vaccine, right?
Yeah.
Acha. And none of you guys had any UAE mein koi scares nahi the? Oh shit.
I had a scare last week. Yeah, I had a scare last week.
You got the vaccine? Acha, but
I don't, but that doesn't mean you can't get it though, right?
Sure.
I think you can still.
Have you got the Sinopharm?
Yeah, I've Sinopharm. Yeah, I think very few people have got Pfizer.
To check our antibodies 3 months after the second dose. And I'm definitely
Really?
going to do that.
मुझे तो नहीं बुलाया अभी तक.
Booster dose as well for Sinopharm.
A booster dose after the 2.
There's a third dose for immunocompromised people. Also
developed antibodies.
Yeah, also. And अभी कल खबर आई थी कि the UAE is developing a vaccine with the partnership with Sinopharm and some other company, and they're calling it Hayat-Vac, and it's being made in right next to my house, actually, like 15-20 minutes from my house.
Hold on. Why is Abeera laughing at Hayat-Vac?
हमें पता है वो कौन है, वो फैमिली को हम जानते हैं. Our friend Hamza is in Hayat.
I want to know why Abeera is laughing at Hayat-Vac.
हमारे दोस्त का surname है ना Hayat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the question then, all of you working from home, scares की कोई बात नहीं, अच्छा हमने सब discuss कर लिया. The last thing I wanted to ask was, working from home was not your normal. We spoke to some people जिनके लिए था, and so the transition was not a big deal for them. Abeera, Musad, then Sarkhail, how long did you work from home? Perhaps you're still working from home. And was the transition initially difficult but got better because you did something? Do you think this is a better way to work now going forward, etc., etc.? How do you feel about the working from home situation?
First, working from home was not an option for me. So when I decided not to go, I basically stopped working. So I work in industry as such where it's a service industry, and I have to, I have to be at work. I have to visit immigration, not even immigration. I had to visit health authorities. I'm in the healthcare industry, so it was not an option. So when I stayed home for a month, I actually didn't do anything. My boss also everything was completely like stopped in the UAE. So the people I was usually liaising with were not functioning. So I had to get back. I had to tell my boss, okay, can we go back to what we were doing? And funnily enough, we were trying to register a medical product. And as soon as COVID hit, and we were dealing with the Chinese, by the way. So as soon as COVID hit, my boss calls me a month later, around April, and he's like, oh, yeah, we have a medicine that can cure COVID. Register that. And I was like, are you serious? I mean, right now, everybody hates China. So why are we doing this?
Was it Kalonji? Was it Kalonji?
Chinese Kalonji. वो चीज क्यों से लिखते हैं?
It was something that even cured SARS, their previous virus. So it was.
That's Kalonji.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, it didn't work. So I had to get back after a month and a half. I had to get back. So there was no working from home option for me at all. So I had a very different situation.
Okay. So that never applied to you, the whole working from home scenario. No. And were people? Are any of your sisters living with you?
Yes.
Were they working from home?
Well, one's an accountant, and she worked from home probably for 3 weeks, and after that she couldn't. She was like, I have to get back. And
Resign.
she had, yeah, no, she couldn't. She's like, I have to get back because our bosses were like, oh no, it's fine. And we were living where she was working in an office where nobody was coming. Mostly people working from home. So she came. It was just her and the boss. So she managed for 3 weeks, but after that it was tough. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, तुम्हारे घर में work from home scenario didn't have like a huge impact.
No, it didn't.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Musad?
Yeah, I mean, it was a learning curve for the first month, because when we went to work from home immediately, I mentioned this earlier, a lot of the senior management didn't know how to do work from home because we hadn't done it before. But the other thing is, I think Ali, last time we spoke, I remember you were in consultancy as well.
Yeah.
So consultancy is one of those things where you don't realize how unimportant you are until there's a pandemic. And it's like the country doesn't oh my god, like the consultants are not here, what's going to happen? No, like everything is going to happen, everything will remain the same. We are pretty superfluous to the essential operations of any country or any business. That being the case, the employees really understood that pretty quickly, because when we're working with a client that has to assure the energy of a city and there's a pandemic happening, they don't care about their sustainability report for those 3 months. They're like, "Baad mein jao yaar, hum share chalaye ki tumhe data bheje apna." So it's that issue. But the management wants to make you feel important. They still want to make it seem that nahi yaar, aap logon ka kaam to bahut zaruri hai, aap logon ko 9 घंटे लैपटॉप के सामने, मतलब you have to be there. But that's not true. We know the reality. So it's like, I don't know, like we had somebody on their team that would constantly have this existential crisis, and I understood where she was coming from. They would say that there's like this pandemic happening, people are dying, because nobody understood how grave it would be. People were like, yaar, ye kab tak ho sakta hai, sab mar jaye, like, it was this weird, very eerie feeling. Then you look outside and like there's like weird masked men and like sanitizers. She was like, and she said this thing that was very apt. I felt that there's so much happening outside, and we're here making PowerPoints, because that's what consultants do for a large part of their day. And I'm like, that's true. So like you have to, like we were trying to make the company respect the pandemic, but for the longest time it didn't. Then the processes got better. So around June, the processes started getting better, streamlined. Productivity started happening. Our clients started coming back too. And then, well, I told you, like by the end of June, I was let go, so I'd lost my job, and that was weird too, because I haven't not worked since I graduated, so I didn't know what to do when I didn't have work.
Yeah,
it's the weirdest thing, and like it took me 2 or 3 months. Then I started consulting again with the same company, and just started like getting freelance work too. But that was weird as well. So even now I'm recovering from it, because now I'm on an 8-hour kind of like a usual 9 to 5er. But because when I was a consultant, I was my own boss. And for somebody who's never been their own boss and not ever not worked outside of the company, that was too much power. I had too much power. I was like, मतलब सुबह उठे 1 बजे टेस्ट मैच शुरू होगा, भाई 8 घंटे कमेंट्री करो, 9 बजे फारिग हो, 9 बजे फारिग हो, उसके बाद मतलब whatever, like watch Drive to Survive, watch some NBA, सुबह 3 बजे काम शुरू हो रहा है. सुबह 3 बजे काम शुरू हो रहा है, जो चला गया. हाँ, और जो 8 घंटे का काम था वो 3 घंटे में हो रहा है. It's not that I wasn't productive. I was just choosing to be productive at this awful time. So 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. आपका काम खत्म हो रहा है, then you sleep and you wake up again at 12. Like,
did that get better?
It's getting better now. So okay. I think the gym really helps, and exercising helps because it tires your body out. But also the job, you have to get up early enough. So, but I'm still like, even on a weekday, I find myself awake at 2 a.m., which is not the person I used to be. I used to be lights out 11:30 or 11. And now because of the pandemic, it just completely I got whiplash. My body clock was just completely out of sorts. So I'm recovering from that. But I would say, so I'm still work from home twice a week. I really, really enjoy it because now I'm good at it. I've got this comfy chair, a nice monitor. It's not lime
green though. Is it green though?
I was just gonna say it's not lime green. It's your usual uncle office chair, but it's got a headrest, so that's nice.
So you're working from home. You said 2 days a week. So is there like a split?
It's a split. So because we just like to social distance at the office, there's only 5 or 6 of us at one point.
So matlab office wale bhi they calm down, matlab with the checking and this.
Yeah. Like I'm new to the gig, so I want to be there more often, so just to like get to know the company, a little feel of the culture too. But a lot of the legacy, like the older employees, they're just like, "Hum nahi aa rahe, bhai. Hum ghar se kar rahe." Like one of our consultants is in America. She's like, "I'll just wake up at night and do it. But if I'm working from home, I can work from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what's your problem, right?" And I think I'm a lot more productive at work, at home. So I measured my productivity in the past 2 weeks, and if I was to put a percentage on it, I would say 30% more productive at home.
Okay.
It's quite a bit.
Okay.
Quite a bit.
What about you, Sarkhail? I think तुम्हारी कोई ऐसी job upheaval तो नहीं हुई क्या तुमने हमें शायद बताया नहीं. But like over the past,
there was some people did lose their job in our company.
There was tension. I remember.
There was tension. There was
Everybody was tense, to be honest. Everybody was tense, very tense.
And since I'm a sales engineer, most of my job is like I'm always at clients. I'm always outside at distributors and clients. So when the lockdown hit, obviously one week before the lockdown hit, I was already working from home because I had a knee surgery, and so I was already in bed. And then lockdown hit, and it was like, okay, I'm relaxed. And मैं तो बहुत introverted आदमी हूँ. I don't want to go out.
Yeah.
Unless I see my friends are having fun, then I'm like, okay, I have FOMO. So the lockdown was perfect because I was at home and so were my friends. They were not doing anything. That's fine. I'm okay with that. And then I think I went back to work maybe in June, July.
Oh, okay. Actually, when things opened up again.
Yeah, so I've been going out to work now since then, and on and off, depending on whether I can visit those customers are accepting. So now most of my clients are like, yeah, okay, you need to show a PCR test in the last 7 days. So yeah, I was okay with that. I was perfectly fine working from home.
This dude has craters for nostrils now. I'm telling you, this guy comes back and forth every week.
80s में ना बहुत सारे रॉक स्टार्स जो थे ना वो कोकेन करते थे बहुत सारा, तो ना इवेंचुअली लाइक 20 साल बाद ना उनके नेजल पैसेजेस में छेद हो गए. सखेल ने कभी जिंदगी में कोकेन नहीं की, लेकिन he has achieved the same status.
If I was to do some now, I could snort a kg, I think, in one go.
We'll never be able to tell now, right? So
Yeah.
as you grow old, like
Sarkhail, being the only Shadishuda person here who is not living with family but living with Begum, was that weird for you initially? Ab मैं घर पे ही हूँ.
No, bro, she seems like a nice lady. I got along with her. Yeah, she's all right.
Yeah, chill thing.
It was just, I loved it. I think we could do it again. Fine.
Sarkhail was very ambitious during the pandemic. Didn't you move houses between the pandemic?
Yeah, I did move houses.
You did move
And we
houses.
did too. That was another big surge that happened in Dubai or UAE.
Did the rents go down?
Yeah, crazy.
The rent prices.
Oh, I also moved houses. मैं हैरान ऐसे हो रहा हूँ जैसे कोई बड़ा नया concept है. I also moved houses. I just remembered. Okay. Chale, so that's all the questions I had. Is there any specific thing about the lockdowns, pandemic, coronavirus that you guys want to talk about?
I don't want to mention the fact that the one thing that's different in Dubai is that they still haven't opened up events and weddings and whatnot. So everybody who's getting married the past 3 months, Sharjah and Ajman has made so much money. The hotels have made so much money because everyone's getting married in Ajman and Sharjah. And I've just recently been to a wedding last week, and people are like, "Oh, how could you?" But in fact, their social distancing rules are amazing.
I attended a wedding in Dubai.
No, it was on for a bit, then it went off again.
Yeah,
okay.
Currently, like Feb, March, April, I have got 2 weddings, and they're all in Sharjah and Ajman. And the social distancing has been amazing. I mean, every wedding has. Every wedding is like, buffet mein you have to continuously wear gloves, mask cannot be taken out, every table there are 4 chairs, and then you see in Pakistan where it's like,
oh yeah, all लोग करीब आ गए हैं उसकी वजह से. But the thing I was going to ask was कि Dubai Abu Dhabi के बीच में, Abu Dhabi के borders पे there's the super checking, but you're going to Sharjah Ajman. Is there excessive checking there? Yeah, they're on the same level as Dubai.
They're all the same level. It's only Abu
You
Dhabi.
can drive.
Okay.
The thing is that Dubai relies on tourism, and that's most of their income. So they need to open everything. Abu Dhabi has oil money. If no one comes, they'll be okay. So they just.
Abu Dhabi में तुमने सुना था इस तरह की बातें कि jobs जा रही हैं, खतरे हो रहे हैं बहुत सारे Dubai level पे. Yeah, was it there but less?
Yeah, no, it was there. It was there too. It was there, but like people were. I don't think as many people lost their jobs in Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
But there were issues about if you left for your home country, they were not being allowed back in.
Yeah,
you had to get this approval on the website and stuff, and there are still people that are stuck. I mean, it was sort of based on, I guess, your visa status, your whatever your what position you are.
I remember वो Badr went to Lahore and he got stuck there for like months because Emirates की बस flight नहीं चल रही. एक दफा तो he got sent back from the gate. He was at the gate to get onto the plane, and they're like, flight cancel. And he's like, I'm like, airport se bahar niklu. But yeah,
Okay, so close. Next time.
Chalant, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for making time, everyone. This has been another episode of the Corona World Tour. I don't know if this is the last episode. If it is, so okay. If it's not,
Yeah, mother, who's dying?
No, I mean we're doing multiple episodes now.
It'll probably be Musad. Probably be Musad. 'cause he's not doing that.
Musad, I want that video. If you get vaccinated, there needs to be a video.
I'll send you a photo because I don't want any video footage of me getting syringed. That's not something a grown man.
Inside, outside.
I want you to look at the syringe while it enters you.
खुद लगाओ अपने आप को.
So back in the day in university, what I used to do is I used to play Subway Surfers.
Okay.
While they would poke me with the needle.
Oh,
that was good because in university you had to do it every year. They would have to get.
Oh, the visa gets renewed every year.
I'd be like, okay, lady, you do what you got to do, and I got my Subway Surfers going. 13 million.
अब क्यों नहीं हो सकता ये?
How is this guy more successful than me, man?
I don't know. I don't have the Subway Surfers app anymore, but I'll take a stress.
Okay. And on that amazing story, we'll end. Okay, thank you for watching TVR Pod. Change of pace. Abeera Musad.
Everywhere.